All right, here we go. So welcome. Today's workshop is What's Your Why? Creating a Recovery Vision. Again, please do note that tonight's workshop is going to be recorded. We do that so that we want to do this even moving forward so that we can share our workshop on our media platforms, so that if this time doesn't work out for this workshop, any workshop in the future, there's always an opportunity to partake in activities and gain the resources that our speakers are providing. So the recording is going to be, if you choose this evening to verbally share, that's the image that will be recorded, just to give you a heads up. So it's never a requirement that you do so, but we certainly love hearing from all of you. So if you're comfortable and you choose to do that, keep in mind that your wonderful presence will be kept on our website. And always there's the option to change the Zoom display name. So if you click on your box, the 3 dots in the corner, you can change your name. All right. So tonight's workshop brought to you by the Eating Disorder Foundation. We are a free and non-clinical resource in Colorado, offering the majority of our services right now online so that we can remain as accessible as possible. At EDF, we provide assistance to individuals and families through our educational presentations, our support groups, and advocacy initiatives. We aim to help people who are seeking information and support, whether it's prior to making the decision to find treatment or go to treatment, or as well to individuals who don't have access to treatment, formal care, and may never have that. There's many ways of approaching recovery and healing. So EDF is a supplement to treatment, and we strive to improve access with information and help by collaborating with other organizations, with other professionals and individuals, and by providing the appropriate referrals. As a nonprofit that values accessibility, I do want to take a moment and thank everyone who has been able to provide a donation to support our efforts. That's very much appreciated. And now I am really, really pumped to introduce our speaker for tonight. So we have Meg McCabe. Meg is a certified eating disorder recovery coach and a life coach with lived eating disorder experience. Meg is the founder of the Eating Recovery Collective, a global online community that brings together individuals with eating disorders for education, motivation, and friendship. Meg is the host of the Full and Thriving podcast and the creator of Lunch Warriors, a free virtual meal support group. Meg's mission is to help those recovering from eating disorders live the life that's present, connected, and meaningful. Meg graduated from the University of Connecticut in 2013 and was born and raised in Connecticut. Meg moved to Colorado in 2018 and enjoys dancing, camping, skiing, and swimming, and has a half Chihuahua, half Jack Russell Terrier named Jules. So Meg, I'm going to pass along over to you. Thank you so much for being here. And if you don't mind, if you'll help instruct everyone that they can use the chat, and that you'll also be inviting people to share throughout your presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Sabrina. I really appreciate the intro. It was so nice to just hear those fun facts like that I wrote a few weeks ago. I really appreciate you sharing that information about me. So thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My intention for this workshop is to just spark a little motivation and inspiration within all of you. So it's not super educational. We have some educational points, but I want you to experience just connecting to your why and have the opportunity to clarify your recovery vision. And I feel like this is something that you hear about a lot on podcasts or on YouTube. You might hear people talking about connecting to your why. You might even have a running list of reasons why, but many of us don't take a significant amount of time to write things down and reflect and really clarify that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I hope you all enjoy it. Before we begin, I just have a few ground rules for this workshop. The first one is to be kind and respectful because it will be really interactive, I hope. And so that means there are going to be people on this call who are just starting their recovery, or maybe they're several months or years in, maybe some people are fully recovered. We just want to be respectful of where everyone is in their journey. I also ask that you please avoid any negative or triggering comments. We do have the chat box open right now. I love an active and engaging chat box, but please try to avoid using, well, definitely avoid using any numbers or talking about specific eating disorder behaviors when we get into the conversation. Also, I just want to remind everyone to please do not ask any medical related questions. I am not a medical professional. Also, this workshop is not a replacement for treatment and should not be considered medical advice. And finally, please be willing to be vulnerable and have fun. As a coach and as an eating disorder professional, I really value connection and fun, which is kind of, I think, refreshing because eating disorders tend to feel very dark and heavy. And I just want us to experience a little bit of levity today. So that's what I'm hoping we have. Okay, so today we will get clear on why we want to recover. We will acknowledge briefly what's holding us back in terms of reaching full recovery. We will examine the wheel of life, which is just a little tool where you can look at your life right now and think about where you want to progress towards. And then at the end, we will write out our recovery visions. So, why is your why important? So I like to think, first of all, your why is important because it is bigger than your eating disorder, okay? Our eating disorders like to keep us playing small. We're thinking about the small things like numbers on the scale, calories, little bites of food that we're having. But the eating disorder, the why, forces us to take a step back and think about things that are expansive. It helps us connect to our true purpose and meaning in life and disconnect from the smallness of our eating disorder. And whenever you hit a recovery roadblock, I think it's really important to connect to your why as a powerful motivation tool. So if you're feeling in a slump with recovery, which we always tend to do sometimes, reconnecting to journaling about your why or meditating on your recovery vision can really help you pull yourself out. I like to think of your why at I think of it kind of like meditation. So I don't know if any of you are well versed on meditation, but a common practice in meditation is that you return to your breath, right? It's like if your mind is wandering, you just return to your breath and it connects you to the present moment where it's inevitably calm and peaceful. And I think returning to your why is very important in recovery because it connects you to hope and inspiration and your own drive to keep going. And also, finally, connecting to your why helps with behavior change and decision making. So in recovery, you're faced with decisions every single day. And if your why is very clear to you and your vision is very clear to you on what you want, it will help you make decisions related to behaviors or choices in life that are supportive of your recovery journey. I like to think of this similar to how CEOs of businesses act. Often a business has their vision statement and values, and whenever a CEO has to make big decisions, it's encouraged that they fall back on that company vision or their values to make those informed choices. And I want you to think of your vision and your why as that tool for you. So there are a million reasons why your why is important, but these are what really stand out to me. All right, let's see. This want to make sure I have my chat box open in case. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so this is going to be interactive, so I hope you have some sort of pen and paper ready to just do some prompts. So this might feel really stinking easy to all of you, you know, writing down all of your reasons why, but sometimes the most simple practices can be really powerful. So what I want all of you to do is start writing, take a few minutes to write down all of the reasons why you want to recover. So think of the small reasons and the big reasons. I know for me, I really wanted to recover because I wanted to restore my period and be a mom one day. And I also really wanted to go to the Cheesecake Factory and eat cheesecake without guilt. Like I had a ton of like big and small reasons. I also, what else? I couldn't exercise during my recovery and I really missed dancing. So I also wanted to reconnect with dancing. So I want you to think about all of your reasons and take a few minutes to reflect. We'll take some silence together. And I put these photos on here to spark some ideas for you. So let's see, it's 5:13 now. We'll give you maybe 3 to 4 minutes, I think. So we will share after this. Okay, just for the sake of time, I want to bring us back together. You can totally add all to this list throughout the presentation. I wanted to ask, let's go to the next slide. I wanted to ask if anyone is brave enough to share their reason on camera. Would anyone like to unmute themselves and share with the group?
I'll do it.
Awesome, okay.
Hi, I'm Mindy from Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Hi.
So I got about, God, 8 of them, but maybe they're repetitive, I don't know. To normalize eating with regard to dining out with friends and order from the menu, which I'm actually starting to do. Connect with my body in a more soulful way, so no more gym, really. Limiting that very strongly. Extending my lifespan, engage and be healthier. Yeah, be healthy. Well, extend my lifespan. Engage more fully with friends and family and intimate partner in a healthy, more present way. Be able to be more flexible and spontaneous with my meals and snacks when on the go, visiting places, on trips, and with family functions. To find a healthy, loving, intimate life partner and be open to allow a greater connection in a more balanced way. And finally, let's see, two more. I think I said this darting out. Yeah. To allow myself more savory, delicious foods and sweet snacks and desserts. I wanted to add like a kind of an asterisk, but I'm not going to. It's restrictive. Not have to monitor eating safe foods in between my challenge meals. Yeah.
Wow, I love your list. I feel like it covers all different areas, like food related, social related. And I can see that you're really smiling and you look like you feel good when you say those things.
Yeah. I've lived a long time, so I've lost a lot of relationships and my choices, and it's affected my relationships, my marriages, and relationships and recent breakup. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I can see how that would be really challenging, and I'm sure it adds to your motivation to want to recover.
Yeah.
You know, like if you recover, perhaps that will feel the part of you that wants to thrive in relationships, and that's so powerful. So thank you for being brave and courageous and sharing. I wanted one more person to share. And I would say if you have a long list, maybe share your top 3 reasons.
I'll go.
Awesome. Okay.
So I'm actually recovering. Also, I've been suffering from ED since I was probably 16. And in the past year or so, I broke my leg, had to have surgery for that, and then I suffered through colon cancer. I'm in remission now, which is great. But that kind of had me lapse back into my eating disorder. And I think the reason I really want to get out of it is because I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And I hate having it controlling me. And I love food. And I'm a chef and I love to cook. And so I just want to try to, sorry. And I'm also going back to school to become a medical assistant based on my work through all my colon cancer stuff. But I'm similar to Mindy is that I want to be spontaneous and just like be able to go and do stuff and not worry about it, not look at the menu before you go to the restaurant. So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that and for your story. I think many of us listening can relate to your tears and the emotion behind all of your why. And that was really beautiful. So thank you for being vulnerable with us. And I appreciate it. All right, so let's keep going. I really encourage you guys to add to the chat your top reasons why. So feel free to share this. This chat is open today. So if you guys are a little nervous and don't want to be on camera, I'd love to hear more of your reasons why you want to recover. So big thank you to both of you for sharing. Okay, so I wanted to keep moving through this, and I hope you guys are adding to your list as we go. But this is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And for those of you who've never seen this before, maybe you saw it in health class growing up, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs was created by Abraham Maslow in 1943. And this is kind of a diagram that highlights the theory of human motivation. And so the theory behind this is that humans are intrinsically motivated to move from the bottom of the pyramid to the top. All right. And you cannot fully move up in this pyramid until you have the first and second and third like stages feeling good to you as a human, feeling secure. So when you have an eating disorder, you're kind of stuck at the bottom of this pyramid. There might be parts of your life where maybe you crawl up a few levels, but then you might end up feeling like you're stuck at the bottom of this. And this isn't to shame anyone or make you feel bad about yourself. It's just to highlight how it's very hard to thrive in life if you don't have your basic needs met. So if you do not have the physiological and biological needs met, like sleep, food, water, it's going to be hard to foster those intimate relationships or reach self-actualization or connect to your purpose or connect to your community, because you're just so focused on food and in survival mode. So I hope that when you guys are thinking about the life you want to create, just recognize that right now you might be managing this management of your eating disorder is taking up so much of your brain space that you don't have enough energy to like really focus on other things. I'll have clients come to me and get upset because they don't feel connected to a purpose. And I remind them, you know, it's okay that you don't feel connected to a purpose right now, because managing an eating disorder is really hard. It's like a full-time job in itself. So just wanted to share this with all of you and let you know that when you recover, that mental brain space that you have that's focusing on food will soon clear up, and you'll be able to thrive in these other areas of life and hopefully reach near the top of the pyramid. So I see the chat's going, so I hope I can, sometimes it disappears. Ooh. All right, we'll keep going for now. We want to see the chat real quick. All right, good. So people are sharing, yay. Okay, we're gonna keep going. All right, so 3-minute prompt. I think it's important for all of us to acknowledge what's keeping us stuck in our eating disorder and why. So I'm not going to have us share verbally in conversation at this point. So I want you to quickly journal for 3 minutes about what you think is keeping you stuck in your eating disorder, just so we can acknowledge it. We're not going to solve the problems tonight. It's just important to know that while we think about our vision, we do want to acknowledge why it's difficult to get there. So it is 5:26, so I'll give us about 3 minutes and we'll come back together. Feel free to share in the chat what you think is keeping you stuck. So I'm seeing some really good reasons that I just want to read out loud. So Joanne says, food and exercise are my friends when I am sad. So it's something that people turn to Joanne turns to when she's feeling sad, which makes sense. Tracy mentions other mental health issues, need for routine, and fear of uncertainty and change. I think that's really powerful too. And definitely a mountain to climb sometimes when it comes to reaching recovery. Katie says communication is a challenge for her, and it's hard for her to have the words to say that she's not okay. This is all very powerful. Mara says, still working on what is keeping me stuck. I think maybe a sense of control, feel safe, protected, distraction, coping. And everything seems to be ingrained and automatic. So you all have very valid reasons for staying stuck in your eating disorders. But it's important to not be discouraged and really reach for resources and connection to pull you through your eating disorder, and also just continuously reconnecting with your why and that vision for recovery might be what gives you the strength to face those fears that you have. So thank you guys for sharing. It's so valuable to just be able to read what everyone wrote down. Okay, so next we're going to do another little activity. I have a lot of activities I like to do. So this is called the Life Wheel. It's actually apparently by Tony Robbins, but it's all over the internet. And we're going to do a little assessment about our life, breaking it down into these sections. So business, finances, health, family and friends, romance. And what I want you to do is just maybe create your own little circle on your paper with these sections on them, or you can just list out the sections. And the first thing I want you to do is go through each section, and if you're a numbers person, you can rate how you feel about it 1 through 10. If it's a 10, that means you are super happy and pleased with this area of your life. And if it's a 1, it means you really are not happy. But in addition to that, I'd like you to connect an emotion to that area of your life. So for instance, maybe you just moved into a new apartment and it's bright and sunny and spacious and you feel calm in there. So maybe you would rate that a 9 or 10 out of 10. Maybe at work you feel stuck and stifled. So maybe you would say stifled and rate yourself a 5. So take some time. If you guys want to let me know when you're finished with that, we can keep moving through. Any questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
So we are doing each category and putting how important it is to us, or how we think would, yeah, how pleased we are with ourselves with it each.
It's more about assessing how you feel about it right now. So if you are pleased with it, if you're not pleased with it, and this is just an honest assessment. You know, we don't want to judge our lives too hard. We just want to know how we feel about it so that we can know where we want to go and the changes we want to make. Thank you for asking that question.
And Fran, do you have a question? You're unmuted as well.
No, not at the moment, thank you.
All right.
And while you guys are finishing up with that, thank you. Someone said they're done. I'd love for you guys to first maybe share with me in the chat what your highest rated section is or what your lowest rated section is. I just want to see how people are doing. So one guest says the highest is fun and recreation. That's pretty exciting. I wonder what emotion is attached to that. Oh, and then someone says lowest is fun and recreation. Jillian says 10 career, recreation is 0. Jennifer says romance and physical environment are the highest. So we can see here how everyone's doing. It's very interesting to see everyone, you know, everyone's life has different outcomes and different results based on choices they've made, based on maybe how their eating disorder has impacted them. Yeah, I thank you guys for sharing all of this. Okay, so Tracy says job is the highest and lowest is romance. We're all, you know, it's struggled. Relationships are hard when you have an eating disorder. Brittany says her highest was only a 5 with business and career. So she says she's a little bit critical, but better than what she was, and she's growing professional. So that's good, keeping in mind your own personal growth. So when you, next steps to this exercise, and we can just reflect a little bit, is looking at your lower scoring sections and asking yourself, how might my eating disorder be impacting this? So take some time maybe to either share with us in the chat how your eating disorder might be impacting this. And then the next piece is to ask yourself, how might my recovery improve this area of my life? So we're trying to see how, you know, maybe this is also going to help us recover, because we say, okay, I really want a loving partner and I really want to feel authentic and accepted and loved. And this is another reason why I want to recover, is so that I can more deeply connect with people and live in the present. So I do have the steps written down. I know I'm sharing what you can do, but there are the steps in case you're not following with me completely. I love to see that everyone's being chatty in the chat box. And if you're looking for another prompt, what I would love to see you do also is go through your wheel one more time and write down for your lower scoring sections, what emotions would you prefer to feel when you think about this category? So maybe for romance, you prefer to feel accepted, or maybe with personal growth, you like to feel fulfilled. So please share, you know, if you have any preferred emotions that you'd like to aim towards. Guest, someone says, there's a lot of feelings talk here. I'm bad at feelings. It's okay. I think a lot of people feel that way. This is a good practice. You know, I hope you can consider this a safe place to practice checking in with your emotions. So Jennifer says she wants to feel strong and fearless. I love that. Maura says she'd like to feel free and connected with others. Joanne says she wants to feel loved. You know, our needs are sometimes very simple. A lot of times it comes down to feeling safe or feeling loved, feeling accepted. It's not, you know, happiness is something that just came through the chat. I love that you guys are being active. Thank you. All right, so for the sake of time, I'm going to keep moving forward, but thank you guys so much for participating. And again, you can always return back to these activities. Someone asks, is meh a feeling? That is the first step to identifying the feeling. That's funny. I think you can probably find another defined feeling to describe what meh feels like. Okay. So putting it all together. So we've really clarified our why, and we've kind of reflected on where we want to go. You know, what areas of our life do we want to improve? How do we imagine this happening? And so now we're going to shift on focusing on your why and what you want everything to look like, to more clarifying your recovery vision. So I wanted to highlight a little bit of a study for you, because this is why, because a lot of people are probably skeptical with the thought of visualization. You know, this is hokey. This is some hippy dippy stuff I don't believe in. I know, I've heard it. I've thought it too in the past. So I have some studies that have happened to highlight the power of visualization. So first, in 1995, there's this famous piano study conducted at Harvard Medical School with Alvaro Pascal Leon. And he recruited a group of volunteers to learn and practice a 5-finger exercise on the piano with a metronome. And part of the study was that they had to practice this 5-finger exercise 2 hours a day for 5 days with a metronome, which keeps the beat over and over and over again. And while they were playing, he had a transcranial magnetic stimulator, I don't know, science headpiece on the people while they were playing. And he was able to monitor the motor cortex to see how that repetitive motion impacted the brain. And what he found over those 5 days was that the motor cortex increased in size. So those people, the area of their brain that connected to their fingers playing the piano expanded and increased in use. And what that pretty much highlighted was that physical practice has the power to change the structure of the brain, right? Physical, practicing anything with your hands physically. But he took it one step further, and he asked a different group of volunteers to sit in front of the piano with the contraption, the transcranial magnetic stimulator on their heads, and just imagine themselves playing the same exercise repetitively for 2 hours a day. So their fingers weren't moving over the keys at all. They weren't actually playing any music. They were just visualizing playing the piano. And what he found was that the motor cortex, which is a section of the brain in charge of like planning and playing music, the motor cortex had an equal amount of stimulation and use. The increase was the same amount. And basically what that proved to Alvaro and his team was that mental practice and mental visualization has the power to change the structure of the brain, which is pretty amazing. So when you're visualizing something, your brain doesn't know that it's not real. So think about that. Very powerful. A similar study, and this one was conducted by the Lerner Research Institute in Cleveland. They had volunteers imagine to flex their pinky finger 15 minutes daily for 3 months. So they weren't actually flexing their pinky finger, they were just imagining flexing their pinky finger, which is probably the most boring activity anyone can do for that long of a period of time. But what they found was that doing so actually increased the strength of the finger muscle by 35%. So what that means is that the brain processes visualization as if the human is actually doing the thing. So how powerful is that? And you can dive deep into research or other stories related to visualization and healing, but it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a little life hack. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about this, because when you visualize something, you're kind of stepping into the experience of actually doing it, and your brain doesn't know the difference. And you'll find that different athletes, I put a photo of a skier here because athletes visualize races and games and performances all the time. Muhammad Ali visualized fighting. If you're a skier, you might visualize every turn, every bump of a race. And by doing so, and then imagining it going well, can be very powerful because your brain thinks you actually did that race really well. So I'm going to keep going with this. So with visualization, today we're talking about visualizing our recoveries. So what does that look like? You know, what does full recovery look like to you? But you can also use visualization as a tool the same way that actors and athletes and musicians do when you're challenging your eating disorder. So if you're, say you work with a therapist or a dietitian or coach, and they say, okay, your challenge this week is to eat, you know, bread at a restaurant twice. You know, this week you're gonna face the bread, you're gonna put some butter on that, and that's going to be your challenge. Say that's the challenge. If you visualize that challenge before you go into the restaurant, so visualize yourself sitting down, having the waiter bring over the bread basket, picking out the roll that you want, feeling how warm and delicious it smells, and putting the butter on it and enjoying it. That's practice to your brain. Your brain's going to believe that you just experienced butter on a roll in a positive way. So it takes practice, but it's possible. And I put little images here to give you ideas, like maybe you want to visualize going to the beach and feeling good in your body, or going shopping at the mall and actually having a good experience when shopping for clothes, or going to a restaurant with friends and actually living in the moment and feeling yourself laugh and enjoy people instead of being stuck in your head. All right, I think I want to find the chat again. I see people are chatting. All right. Everyone's saying this. Yeah, so we have some good comments in the chat coming in. So how to visualize. So I want to be clear, in the last slide, I was talking about visualizing small moments, but you can also visualize the life that you want in picture perfect detail. So how to start visualizing? First, it's important to pick the right time and place. So, you know, very basic advice here. Find a quiet place in your home. Maybe it's, I don't know, I think of the New York subway. It's not quiet, but it's a really good time to just sit and think. And then relax your body and mind. So try to, perhaps, if this works for you, do some deep breathing, maybe do a body scan to just see where you're feeling anxious in your body, and let any tension just dissolve away. And then start with something small. So you might feel overwhelmed with visualizing your whole recovery, but maybe you can visualize what it's like to have a partner who, you know, comes up to you while you're cooking in the kitchen and gives you a warm hug, you know, and thinking about how wonderful that would feel to share that moment with them, and then expand from there. Maybe you can see details of what you're cooking and how you feel and what music is playing on in the background, and create these experiences for you in picture perfect I keep saying picture perfect, but crystal clear details, what I mean to say, so that your brain can experience what you hope to actually experience one day. And if you go deep into like spiritual practices, this is kind of a manifestation technique, but that is a different conversation. And finally, when you are visualizing your recovery, or maybe a piece of your recovery, repetition is key. So you want to step into those visualizations several times to form the habit and get used to the feelings that you have when you're in that space. All right, I'm checking the time. Ooh, things go by quick. Okay, actually we're good for time. So we have one more writing prompt and maybe we'll have someone share. So I want you to do 4 minutes of free writing. So basically journaling nonstop. You don't have to be perfect. Just scribble onto the page how you feel. You can always go back and edit it. But today I want you to start off your free writing with the words, I am so happy and grateful. I spelled grateful wrong. Grateful now that ... So you are writing this is your prompt to write out your recovery vision as if it's already happened. So please make note of the tone. You're writing in the present moment as if you've already achieved full recovery, already reached full recovery. So if anyone has questions on how to do that, let me know, but I'm going to give you 4 minutes to just free write using this prompt. Might be even quicker than 4 minutes just to save time. All right. I hope you guys can take a few moments to just wrap up your free writing. Remember, this is something that you can always return to and create exactly what you want. Right now is just the beginning of hopefully a nice visual that you have for a nice little writing for visualization. So we have limited time. So I think I'll have one person share what they wrote if they feel brave enough. And if anyone's not super brave, no pressure. I know. All right.
I would like to share.
All right.
Hi, can you?
I can hear you.
All right. Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I've been in recovery or pursuing recovery for the past 5 years, which seems like a long time now that I say that out loud, but it's a daily struggle, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you. I'm so happy and grateful now that I feel full and complete in my body. I am not attached to ownership of my physical self, but I'm beautiful, existing as a spiritual and creative, loving being, accepting of the changeful nature of my body, curious about it, amused by it, joyously exploring it moment to moment. I enjoy meals with loved ones. I savor them and sample world cuisines for pleasure and health without judgment, shame, or pain.
Wow, that was so beautiful. I got chills when you shared that. You really did a good job with the exercise, stepping into that part of you that wants true recovery and what that would look like for you. So great job. Thank you. And I think that's a beautiful example. So if anyone had trouble with this, that was exactly the way I hoped someone would take the exercise. So thank you. All right, so we're gonna keep going because we're almost done. So this is what I want you all to do. So I'm a coach, I like giving assignments. I want you to work on this at home. This is what I have a lot of my one-on-one clients do as their first assignment is finish writing out your recovery vision paragraph. So what Elizabeth just shared, I want all of you to finish writing your recovery vision paragraph so it feels really authentic and true to you. And then what I want you to do, if you have the ability to, is use your phone and record your voice saying that vision out loud. I personally will add some meditation music in the background or something so it sounds very peaceful. But all you have to do is record your voice saying this vision out loud, and the prompt is to listen to this vision recording and meditate on it for about 10 minutes a day. So this is your anchor to, I would say, recovery. Every morning, if you can just take 10 minutes to connect to your why, connect to your vision, and just sit there listening to your own voice, speaking as if you already have recovery. I'm telling you, you will notice from day to day how, if you don't listen to the vision, the day doesn't feel as amazing as when you start the day by listening to this vision. So that is your take-home prompt. I hope you all do try it. And then finally, for the last section of this presentation, I wanted to open this up for questions or, mostly questions. I think Sabrina's going to moderate in case any questions came through.
Yeah, thank you so much, Meg. What wonderful exercises. And I just want to add, if any of the exercises were difficult, you start anywhere. We all start with wondering, how in the world am I supposed to envision something I don't know yet? I remember feeling that way also, and you just keep trying, and you hear other people's as examples, and that is exactly, then we can start forming. And kind of the beauty of the recovery journey is, like, we do get the space and the freedom in our own minds to create what we want that to look like. So there was a lot of interaction in the chat throughout, so I'm not holding on to any questions right now. So if that came through to me privately. So I will invite, if anyone does have a question about Oh, Mindy, you're unmuted. Do you have a question?
Yeah, about the assignment. So every day we listen to the recording 10 minutes about our vision and our why. I mean, our vision for recovery. And then I won't listen to it, but also do a meditation, like a meditation visualization as well, or that's part of the 10 minutes.
Good question. I appreciate the clarity. So this is how I would do it. You have your vision, you just wrote out your paragraph, right? Your recovery vision paragraph. I would create a recording of yourself saying that. And then that might only be 2 minutes long. It's not going to take 10 minutes to write, to record your paragraph. So I would listen to that maybe once or twice, listen to your recording, and then just sit reflecting on that visual. So it's a meditative practice where you just sit still for the remainder of the 10 minutes after you've heard your visualization, just to really soak it in. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Powerful exercise. All these exercises are very powerful.
Good. I'm glad you thought that.
Yeah, really.
And it looks like we did have another question come in from Whitney. The nerves of feeling like I'll be setting myself up for failure. Any tips on feeling sad or overwhelmed when we think about recovery visualization?
That is a really tough one. I think the visualization can be really powerful, but sometimes it can be overwhelming, especially if maybe you have an anxious personality that feels like, oh my gosh, I have so much I need to do in order to achieve this, right? You start thinking of your to-do list and how far away you are from this. And I'm really glad you brought that up. And I think, as far as feeling sad and overwhelmed goes, maybe make it really small. Start very small with what you can visualize. Perhaps it's not a full recovery. Maybe it's just your next step. Maybe you're visualizing having a successful relationship with your therapist and going to therapy regularly. And I think that would be the way I would approach it. Is if you don't feel comfortable, like kind of running the marathon as in visualizing your full recovery right away, take a baby step and find some middle ground. So I hope that one helped.
And it's been in other workshops where we talk about how baby steps are truly massive steps. So any movement towards even thinking about doing an action that maybe we're really not ready to do is an action in itself. And so I just want to leave some value for that as well. Because even knowing, okay, I'm already anxious and nervous about planning to dedicate some time to thinking about life without my eating disorder. That's pretty huge already to even just start there.
I completely agree with you. I think baby steps are so powerful in recovery, and even just coming to this workshop today and just sitting and listening is going to be a baby step,
So another question, really struggling with fullness as I'm trying to renourish my body for recovery. How can I use this material when I'm so distracted by that struggle?
That is a very unique question. And I think, fullness is scary, right? We have, depending on what your eating disorder is, sometimes fullness can be a very scary experience. It can be frustrating. So my first comment, not related to this material, but with fullness, is to not approach fullness with frustration or anger, but more just curiosity. Like, what's making me super full right now? Like, why does my, how do I feel right now? And what, maybe I ate less today than usual, but I'm still really full. Why might that be? I think questions and curiosity related to fullness is really important. But how can you use this material when I'm so distracted by my struggle? So what I'm hearing in this question is that the fullness you're so focused on the fullness, you cannot focus on anything else. And this is a matter of practicing redirecting your thoughts. And that is extremely challenging to do. But I think the audio will help. If you record that audio and listen to it, focus on it, that might be able to distract you from your struggle, but also focus on maybe making yourself feel physically comfortable while doing the exercises. So maybe wrap yourself in a nice snuggly blanket, or get a heating pad if you're feeling like really uncomfortable, or maybe some hot tea. So focus on making your body physically comfortable while you do this activity. I think that could help.
Thank you so much. That's really, really helpful. It's so frustrating because I know all the logical reasons why this is important to be full, but it's still hard. So thanks.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that question. So I'm glad I could help you.
Thank you.
This work is so challenging, and I admire every single person here in this workshop this evening for truly showing up and just seeing what it's like to even ask yourself, why recovery for me? Because there's tons of reasons, right, that are provided for us, or questions that are given to us in different settings. Maybe some of you have, been asked, think about your values, and like, okay, maybe though I don't know yet, because my eating disorder has provided all the space that values would be for in my life. So where do I begin even creating what that might mean for me? So this is all such a development, and we get to experiment with things. I'm just want to share with you, Meg, just a lot of thank yous and appreciations. Another excellent question that just came in: can we change our why throughout our recovery journey?
Yes, I would say definitely, absolutely, you can change your recovery journey. So this recording you're going to make, you might want to make a new one in a month from now. I think it's really important to always check into your why, because some of your motivators might be stronger than your past motivators. And the more you reflect on it, the more powerful your motivators and your why will be, I think. Mm-hmm. And then Annie says recovery actually demands that your why changes. And I kind of agree with that. Yes.
Such a cool example of like where more flexibility comes into everything we do in life. Even flexibility in the reasons that we're trying to enact change or find motivation. It's in everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Anyone else? Any final questions or thoughts?
So when I saw that this was being offered, I jumped immediately on it, because I'm getting to that point in my recovery journey where when I first came in, like a lot of people, to recovery, I was in total crisis mode, and I like basically needed someone to save me or I was going to die. And I'm glad that I had people that were there to take care of me and to nourish my body and to get me. And so I went through that recovery, but now I've had some distance and I've had a lot of therapy and I've had a lot of journaling, and now it's, as I said, I celebrated my 5-year out of inpatient just about a month and a half ago, and I know, yay. But now I'm like, I actually had the thought like just a couple of weeks ago, like, oh, why am I still doing this? Like that actually came into my head, like, why am I still doing this, or why am I like even still trying? And then like that old ED voice pops in, well, why don't you go back to behaviors? And because like I'm still here to like take up the slack whenever you feel stressed, like that old ED voice comes in, is like, I'm here, I'll take up the slack, I'll help you whenever you feel anxious. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of tempting, but I'm like, oh, I need to reconnect with that why. And it's definitely totally different now than in the beginning. And it has to be because I'm different now than I was 5 years ago. So for what it's worth, that's my experience. And thank you so much for having this, and I really appreciate it. So that's
You're
all.
so welcome. Thank you for sharing that experience too. I can see how, you know, when you started recovery, you were in crisis mode. So your why is going to be, I need to live or survive. And so you're beyond that now. So your why is going to look so much different. And it's a really good example. So thank you for sharing that. And we're really happy for you. 5 years is a huge accomplishment, and just keep going, keep going.
All right, and Fran, I got a hand raise and a yes. Would you like to share?
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to thank everybody for their contribution and for having this What's Your Why. I wanted to write things too, but I'm so new to this IT Zoom thing. I couldn't write anything, but and the vision is, I just wanted to check that the vision we're writing about is the I am so happy and grateful now that. Is that the vision?
Yes, so that is the prompt to start writing out your full recovery vision.
Okay, thank you. Thank
You're
you for being here. You're all angels.
Aw, thank you. So are you.
Thank you. Oh, will this be recorded? Can we listen to it again?
Absolutely, it will be. Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes, and I think we have time, just if there's one more person who has a question or who wants to share, maybe someone who hasn't already shared, just last moment urge to just, you know,
I
tell us
wanted to
what you're
ask,
feeling.
I wanted to ask about the Lunch Warriors. How do we find out about that or become a part of that?
Awesome. Good question. So Lunch Warriors is my free meal support. We meet every other Monday, and it's usually about an hour long. It's a pretty small group, so we all get to know each other pretty well. And you can join that by searching Lunch Warriors on Facebook. It's a Facebook group. So if you request to join the group, I can approve you, and that's where I'm sharing the Zoom link every week or every other week. And also you can, if you go on my Instagram and you check the link in my bio, you can also access the Facebook link in there. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Joanna asks, any way we can join that without Facebook? I think the best way to join this without Facebook would probably be to email me directly, and you can find or message me on my website, which is listed below. there's like a message section where you can contact me, and I can email you the Zoom link and then the times that we usually meet. And then I suggest maybe just putting it on your calendar.
Right. Meg, thank you so much for bringing in some really interactive opportunities for you know, for all of us that we can really do and repeat doing anytime. And I just want to kind of wrap up this workshop, reminding everyone that these workshops and the examples that Meg brought us this evening, they're to be in conjunction with a support system, a support team, and professionals. If you're struggling with your eating disorder and you do need, or you're wondering if you might need additional support professionals, please reach out. You can reach out to Meg, utilize her services, reach out to the Eating Disorder Foundation as well, and let us help you so that you're not feeling alone in the process. We know that there's a lot of different barriers and that this is just really challenging work. So we want to be a community and do this all together. Thank you all so much for coming tonight and for sharing so vulnerably. It's really been beautiful.
Thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate all of your vulnerability, and thank you to the Eating Disorder Foundation for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to share and connect with everyone here. So yes, thank you so much.